So let's dive into the world of central bank digital currencies and the whole privacy arena surrounding them. These CBDCs are really stirring up debates, about how design choices and legal frameworks can either protect or jeopardize our financial privacy.
Indeed. Absolutely. It's like a double-edged sword, right? On one side, you get the promise of efficiency and digital convenience. And on the other, there's this looming question of just how safe your personal financial data really is.
Right. And it's interesting because the impact on privacy kind of hinges on the design and implementation of these currencies. If they're built with strong privacy measures, say by using pseudonymous transactions, then users could enjoy privacy that's kind of similar to cash. But if not, you've got a scenario
Yeah.
where every transaction can be tracked.
Yep, and that tracking is a huge issue. I mean, when every transaction is recorded on a centralized ledger or even a blockchain, it potentially exposes loads of transaction data that could be misused.
Exactly. It's like um, think about getting digital receipts for every purchase you make, but then imagine if security systems or, say, government agencies had easy access to that
That's
data.
a fair point.
It raises serious concerns about surveillance.
And speaking of surveillance, governments could potentially use this data for things like monitoring citizen behavior or enforcing tax laws, which really puts a spotlight on the need for strict oversight.
Absolutely. And when you add payment processors or banks into the mix, there's an added layer, especially if third parties have access to this transaction data, it could be trickled down further.
Yeah, that could be a real slippery slope. But wait a minute, what about the idea that CBDCs can be designed to actually protect user anonymity, much like cash? Isn't that one of the features some researchers are exploring?
Yes, that's a key point. Some frameworks suggest that with pseudonymity, every transaction wouldn't necessarily reveal the true identities of the parties. It's like creating a veil of anonymity, allowing offline transactions, or even using privacy enhancing tech
Right,
like
that's
zero
interesting.
knowledge proofs.
This kind of design really sounds promising, but it does come with a caveat, doesn't it? I mean, to achieve that balance, there's this fine line between being anonymous and still being traceable for, say, preventing fraud or double spending.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a tricky balance. On the one hand, you want to protect user privacy by sometimes erasing unit histories, but on the other hand, the central bank still needs enough data to prevent illegal activities. It's like achieving anonymity and traceability at the same time, and that's where techniques like BBS plus signatures and selective disclosure come into play.
Yeah, exactly. So then, isn't it kind of a paradox? More transparency for regulatory oversight might mean less privacy for the individual.
That's right. And here's where I somewhat challenge that idea. While increased transparency might seem like a breach of privacy, leading to possible social scoring or, misuse of personal financial behavior, it's also
Trust is
necessary to
definitely
create
essential.
trust in the system.
I get that, but I'd argue that there should be a limit to how much power is given to central authorities. I mean, with extensive monitoring, even inadvertently, you could end up in a situation of over surveillance.
You raise a good point, and that's why the legal and regulatory frameworks become so critical. In regions like the European Union, for example, the GDPR sets stringent requirements on how data is handled. This means any CBDC operating there has to be super careful about user data and data processing practices.
Exactly, those frameworks are like the safety nets for users. And then there's the cyber threat angle, which I find quite alarming too. With everything going digital, the vulnerability to hacking, phishing, and even ransomware attacks increases exponentially.
Absolutely. The digital nature means these systems, no matter how secure, are in constant battle with cyber criminals. I mean, it's like you're building a fortress, but then leaving a tiny door
Yeah, that
unlocked
image really
somewhere.
sums it up. And if a breach occurs, not only is user privacy compromised, but the entire trust in the digital currency system can crumble.
Right? Which is why, along with robust technological safeguards, there's a pressing need for ongoing user education, users need to be fully aware of privacy settings and control over their transaction data.
That user control factor is so important. You mentioned balance a few times, especially with anonymity. How do researchers propose achieving that balance between privacy and traceability?
Good question. Researchers are plugging into innovative solutions. For example, one approach involves using commercial banks to manage accounts in a way that protects user anonymity while still allowing central banks to monitor transactions enough to prevent fraud. They even use techniques like coin splitting and combination to increase efficiency while keeping identities hidden.
Yeah, that's quite fascinating. It's almost like they're designing an entirely new architecture that marries the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Exactly, it's like designing a new digital ecosystem where anonymity and traceability coexist in a kind of balanced tension. But, it's not a settled science yet.
True, it's very much an evolving field. And then, of course, the involvement of third party access, like when external service providers handle part of the process, adds another layer where privacy could be compromised.
Correct. Even though the goal of CBDCs might be to cut out the middlemen, some implementations still see a role for third-party firms, especially in maintenance and routine operations, which means they could potentially have access to sensitive transaction data if not properly regulated.
Indeed, that's a vulnerability that can't be overlooked. Speaking of regulation, how do legal frameworks come into play to protect privacy?
Well, legal frameworks are the backbone of privacy protection. For instance, the General Data Protection Regulation in the EU, along with specific CBDC-focused privacy laws in certain countries, enforces strict data handling, user consent, and transparency. These laws ensure that any sensitive financial information is handled with extreme care.
Right, so it's essentially about putting laws that balance innovation with personal privacy rights. I see. And do you think these legal measures will be enough in preventing potential abuse of such detailed tracking systems?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While legal frameworks offer a solid base, the effectiveness largely hinges on enforcement and the specific design of the CBDC systems. There's always a risk if governments are granted extensive monitoring powers without adequate oversight.
Yeah, that's a bit concerning. And what about the technical aspects? Do you think these privacy enhancing technologies like zero knowledge proofs can really shield user data effectively in practice?
They certainly offer promise. Zero knowledge proofs, for example, allow a party to prove something is true without revealing the underlying data. It's like proving you have a key without showing the key itself.
That sounds like a smart workaround.
Exactly. And when incorporated into a CBDC mechanism, these technologies can help in ensuring that while the system is transparent enough for regulatory purposes, user identity and transaction specifics remain securely veiled.
I find it really interesting how all these technical, legal, and operational factors intermingle. It's like putting together a complex jigsaw puzzle where missing even one piece could, compromise the whole picture.
That's a great analogy. And on top of that, the conversation about CBDCs is heavily influenced by user awareness too. The more informed users are about the privacy settings and the implications of digital transactions, the more control they can have over their own data.
Right, user empowerment is key in this digital era. It sounds like the future of digital currencies will need a constant balancing act between innovation, privacy, and regulation.
Absolutely. It's definitely an ongoing dance. As more research is published and pilot programs roll out, there's hope that we can achieve a system that supports financial inclusion and transaction efficiency without sacrificing personal privacy.
That's the vision we all hope for. Now, I do have a bit of a challenge here. Given the inherent tension between state level monitoring and individual privacy, don't you think there might be a danger of over-regulation that stifles the positive aspects of CBDCs?
That's a valid critique. While too much monitoring can indeed lead to overreach, the idea is to develop a framework, ideally one that's adaptable as technology evolves. The goal is to ensure privacy without completely sacrificing the benefits of oversight. It's like walking a tightrope where both sides need to be balanced carefully.
Yeah, it's definitely a delicate act. And with cyber threats evolving, constant updates to both the technological and regulatory safeguards will be crucial.
Exactly. Continuous improvement is key here. The ecosystem needs to anticipate new threats, whether it's through enhanced encryption methods or ongoing legal revisions. It's not just about setting it up and leaving it, it's about maintaining vigilance every step of the way.
It's really a dynamic interplay between technology, law, and human factors. I find it fascinating how these conversations lead us to question not just the technology itself, but also um, our values regarding privacy and freedom in the digital space.
Oh, definitely. And that's what makes this whole debate so rich and complex. As we move forward, improving user education and transparency regarding how their data is used will um, play a central role.
Yeah, that's absolutely crucial. So, in a nutshell, while CBDCs offer great potential for financial innovation, their impact on privacy is very much a matter of how we design and regulate these systems.
Precisely, it's like a constant balancing act between enabling efficient digital payments and maintaining the confidentiality that safeguards our financial freedom.
Indeed. And as we continue to see more advances in both technology and policy, it will be interesting to see how the balance evolves. Thanks for such an engaging dive into these issues. It really gives one a lot to ponder about our digital future.